Lately, I've been getting a calling that it's time to share a little bit about who I am. Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Karen Tizan. This is a new channel that I am starting to put together and talk about things that I wish were talked about a little bit more. So if you are here, thank you. Thank you for pressing play. Thank you for being with me. So I want to start with a quote. Truth has a frequency. I have always felt this. I have always known this to be true. And now it seems like this has been the season of exposing fake gurus, like the fall of these unrelatable influencers, selfish parenting, and the exploitation of children. So I'm seeing this a lot. Of course, I'm devastated that this is happening, and we live in a world where it's happening in front of our eyes like an open secret. We're starting to see everything crumble, which is why I really felt like it was time for me to start having the conversations that I wish I could have with other people, with my audience. Everything that happens in the dark will always come to light, and it seems like the time is now. Just gonna have a little sip. Okay. So, social media has never felt real to me. The filtered pictures, the filtered personality, it all felt really fake. People that were willing to sell their souls for fame and attention. And I never quite understood it. I was always craving something more, something that was like more authentic, like the deeper conversations. I really wanted to be able to see beneath the surface, past all of the superficial stuff that, we've been inundated with online. So, like the nice watches, the fully made up faces, just like all of the image. It's keeping up with the Kardashians. Like that was what I really struggled with for a long time with social media, and how much everybody was plugged into it. It always rubbed me the wrong way, but somewhere along the way, things have seemed to change. Like lately, I'm starting to notice that there are a lot more, I guess it's like the calling out of all of these things that we've been seeing for the last 5 years now, right? COVID was really when social media, like we all got like stuck inside, and that was our only connection to the world. And slowly I started hearing voices echo that same thought. Like there were more people wanting authenticity. And then I heard like a glimmer of truth. Now it was like there was more than just vacations and like these really fake, couple pictures. And we know the people who post their relationship online the most generally don't have a really healthy or strong relationship, right? Like we now know, and we've seen so many falls of relationship. It's a lot more obvious now. In COVID, it was just all that we were exposed to. They're starting to see behind the facade. And I had always felt this way. And I thought, okay, was this just me being envious? Like, is this a me problem that I'm looking at all these people and they're like vacations and their perfect homes and perfect relationships and feeling like this is off? Like, this is not, I don't care for this. Like, I wasn't striving for the Instagram relationship. And when I was in a relationship that wasn't authentic to me, like I felt it in my bones. There was nothing I could do to pretend that it was okay. I knew. And seeing all these other relationships, like I just felt like something's not right here. So, anyways, the time has changed. It's time to really start looking around and making informed decisions about who you are exposed to. So I'm noticing that it's time to choose your mentors and understanding that people are just humans, like we're all just humans, and we're allowed to like somebody and also disagree with an opinion and have respect for them. Because when we put people on a pedestal, it's very unhealthy, and we make them like godlike, which is like a sure way that they're eventually going to disappoint you when they show their human side. And this kind of brings me to the shadow. So the shadow side of people, everyone has a shadow side. The ones who hide it the most, the ones that need to have an image, excuse me, 1 second, and keep up with that image, those have the darkest, those people, I should say, they often have the darkest shadows. And it's something I've always felt, but I couldn't put my finger on it and I couldn't really say anything because I can't just go around and assuming everybody is like hiding a secret, which I mean, the truth is most people are, and most people are very insecure. But anyways, I wanted to point that out about shadows is that the people with the biggest image to keep up are the ones who have the darkest shadows. So don't say I didn't warn you. I'm starting to see all of this crack. The thing that happened most recently, and I didn't really look into this, Sadia Khan. And I have so much respect for her content, for her voice, and the way she very eloquently explains relationships. And a side of relationship that a lot of people aren't willing to talk about. So dishonesty, betrayal, cheating, right? Like she talks a lot about that. She talks a lot about having like the pretty girl curse and what it's like to be dating as a pretty girl. So there's a lot of things that I really related to. And I have a lot of respect for her that way. But as anybody else, like she's human. And I've always known that. I like her for what she can say so easily because I'm not able to say it the way she does. Now that we're hearing, this shadow side of her, it's like people just want to come after her, which, listen, I have not actually looked into this, so maybe I should not be talking about this. But I feel like that's a little unfair. Like if you put her up on a pedestal, and now everybody's coming after her to try to attack her and call her out and say she's like not a good person. That's so unfair. Like you're the one that made her godlike. She's just a normal person. Again, I really haven't looked into it. I feel like we live in a world that wants to be obsessed with people and then can't wait for their downfall. And then when they do make a comeback, if they make a comeback, it's like, oh, well, I always liked her anyways. Like everyone's just so quick to jump on whatever bandwagon. It's one of the things that irritates me a lot and probably why I don't watch the news or I'm not huge on social media and why I don't have that many friends like the way I used to have friends. So I'm starting to see new creators emerge. All these ego-driven influencers fall away. And it's not because I want people to fail. Like I don't want that. But I think it's time we all start seeing people for their character, like who they are and not their image. We live in a society that's been obsessed with image and it hasn't been a healthy obsession. And I'm starting to see people start to kind of pull away from that obsession, I hope. I've had a lot of influencer friends, and I always found it so odd how people would obsess over them. Like they were like untouchable, like they were so cool. I always felt like if you just met them, you would just see how human they are, but also how insecure and how jealous they truly are. At least the girls that I knew, and I grew up in Toronto. I worked in nightclubs for about 10 years. So I knew the prettiest girls in Toronto. I worked with them every single night. Like I really got to be around them. A lot of them were very unrelatable and very disconnected when the cameras are off. To go back to my point, I just found it weird that people would obsess about just normal people that you could just be friends with if you wanted to. And also, if you were friends with them, you probably wouldn't like them that much. And now it's time for people to start really asking questions, having these soulful conversations. Really, it's time to start surrounding yourself with better people. And this could mean less media, less politics, or any other fear-based narrative. One thing I talk a lot about is cutting off friendships that no longer align and focusing on relationships that actually challenge and nurture you. It's about being honest with the people around you. If you care about somebody, if you like someone, someone is your friend, and you actually enjoy talking to them, tell them. Be honest. Tomorrow is not promised. People can't read your mind. You have to just tell them. So I do make it a habit to tell my friends when I do appreciate them. So often we keep those positive thoughts to ourselves. When something bad happens, we might push them away without really letting them know, A, how much they meant to us, and B, how much they might have hurt us, right? Give them that chance to correct their behavior or change their behavior, so which is the same thing. So the other thing too, if someone's trying to bring you down, say something. You need to kill the shadows while they're small. So people who are unhappy with themselves will often test you and project their insecurities onto you. We might respond by being defensive, rude, or angry, or on the flip side, we might fawn, people please, or like try to make them like us. Both responses are a waste of time. Call them out and let them go. If you feel like this is somebody that isn't going to change, that you don't really want in your life, let them go. But you need to call them out. You need to be able to stand up for yourself, have a conversation, or at least give them a chance so you can see their reaction. Then you'll know. And you can say something as simple as like, oh, did you intend for that to come out like that? Or did you mean to say it like that? Just bringing it back onto them so you can see how they respond. Because somebody who had ill intentions will get caught in their response and it'll become clear to you. Those aren't people you need to try to win over. Why? You don't need to be liked by everybody. And it's something we need to collectively be more comfortable with. Who you surround yourself with is the most important quality for life. So these are the conversations that I feel are important. And it's rare to find other people that I can talk to about this. So I decided to start sharing this online, which is why I really wanted to come on YouTube, actually start a channel and start sharing my thoughts and my opinion. My channel is going to be a mix of my thoughts, conversations with myself, essentially, and discussing the things that I wish more people would speak out about. So, this brings me to my next topic and something that I'm so excited to talk about: dreams. This is a power that we all possess, yet it so often goes unused. Everybody dreams. It's not reserved for like a specific type of person. You don't have to earn dreams. Like dreams are something we all naturally have. We get this. And I've always had a connection with my dreams. And as I've gotten older and through my healing, I've learned how to listen to my dreams better. And this is something I want to encourage everyone to start doing. Just paying attention. Your mind is so incredible and it leaves you clues. You need to listen to it. It would be a shame to let these clues just go waste away. So as a kid, I used to have terrible nightmares. Like I can still feel them. Feeling of being overwhelmed. Something that was so much bigger than life. Like I felt like I was always in this space, this vastness, this expansion. And it always terrified me because I felt so small. I was lost. I was unsure. It was dark. It was just like cold and kind of empty. And I would cry. So I would wake up sobbing and I would be crying. I was always very sensitive. I would just have to calm myself down and then cry myself back to sleep. So that was kind of like my life in the first, I would say, like 4 years. This was like happening quite frequently. My mom never really liked my sensitive nature and she would just ignore me, let me cry myself to sleep, or I would get punished for being a crybaby. So it was something that was challenging in our family to deal with, was my sensitivity and my mom just not having the patience to deal with it. She was tired. It was me and my sister. I have an older sister, so I felt like she just didn't have the energy and didn't know how. She didn't have the energy. She just didn't know how to console me. I feel like I'm gonna cry now. And then after, that stage of having these like nightly nightmares, went from like nightly to weekly, and then slowly they kind of stopped. So again, I think it was like up to around the age of 4-ish, maybe, that I started that I was having these nightmares. And then for a while, like through my teenage years, mid 20s, really maybe all of my 20s, like dreams were just dreams. Like they happened, like random people popped in, nothing exciting or anything that I would really remember. It wasn't until I had my first awakening experience that things really shifted for me. So I always felt like I was different. I just could feel things a lot differently, and I couldn't make sense of it, but I felt it. My mom spent a lot of time telling me that that wasn't true. I wasn't right. I was making it up. She was putting me down a lot. Really, she didn't want me to think that I was so special. Like, she really kind of drilled it in that, it's not always about you. People aren't looking at you. Like, you're not special. It was her way of humbling me, I'm sure, but I'm a Leo moon. So if you know what that means, it's just like the spotlight can be quite natural for me in person. So I do struggle with the attention online, wanting attention and speaking out on things, but in person, it's something that I'm very comfortable doing. And my mom would always say, like, no, they're not looking at you, like, stop it, and just like constantly trying to humble me. To be honest, I would say she was constantly shaming me, but it was how sensitive I was. So not only was I getting attention, even when I wasn't getting attention, or I should say, even when I didn't want attention, I could always feel people looking at me. And I could feel their energy and their frequency. And I can feel when people, like most children, but this was something I felt my whole life, I can always feel the ick on people. And my mom would be like, no, you're wrong, you're making it up. So it's something I never trusted myself, was when I noticed the ick. And this led to a lifetime of horrible decisions, not learning to trust myself or my instincts. It really caused a lot of damage for me. But I'm not going to get into that today. The thing that really hurts me the most, my mom also got premonitions. So she would get them in her dreams too, just like I do. I was going to say just like I did, but I do. My mom is just as sensitive, and she's had to suppress that for so long because she couldn't name a lot of her feelings and her needs. And I think that's why she put my needs down. Instead of supporting me and helping me understand my gifts, she punished me. I really wish that, she helped me understand what was happening. But the truth is, it didn't start with her. People like me, people like my mom, we would have been called a witch and stoned to death in the past. So I get how hard it is to embrace your gifts. And this gift likely has been in my bloodline for generations. So this past August 2025, I had one of the most painful realization when everything started to make sense for me. Why I had suffered so much my entire life, why I was always meeting people that would later betray me. It was like a curse had been following me around. And once I finally got that, I'm going to call it like a download. It wasn't like an awakening. It was just kind of like a realization. But once it all came flooding in, I felt the lowest. I felt I felt the lowest I felt in a very, very long time. I cried for what felt like eons. And it wasn't just regular tears. This felt like my whole lineage was crying through me, through my body. All the women silenced in the past were releasing through me. It felt like a part of me died that week. I had to break the family curse for all the mothers before me. Then the strangest thing happened. When the crying stopped, and it was like from my gut, like it was so deep and ancient. But when that crying stopped, my eyes saw things so clearly. The world became a lot more bright and clear, and it feels like light is pouring out of my eyes. Where the past, they were just like a little muted, like a little bit dull. So it's not like I couldn't see, it just now I could see wider. I want to say like my vision feels a little bit wider. And then on my left eye here, the lashes turned white. So the first one happened and I could see it and I could feel it. Like it felt like a feather was tickling my eye, and it was just like a feather was like stuck on my lash. Obviously, if there was a feather, my lashes are very short. I have Asian lashes, but if a feather was stuck on my lash, like I would obviously see it. I probably wouldn't be able to have a great view of things, but it was just one little white lash. And it kind of like I could see like this like white fluffy thing. And I looked in the mirror and I saw this like one lash and I was like, oh my God. So, and I assumed it was perimenopause. So I plucked out the white lash. Immediately, poof, a cluster of like lashes turned white. And again, like I could feel this. I can't explain it, but I was aware of it happening. So this was my sign that I passed the first part of the test. I wish I knew when the test would end because it's been hard, and it's not being lonely. I love being alone. There's only a select few people that I really do enjoy their company, but far and few between. So I do love being alone, but it was this deep sense of like no one's here to kind of like witness. So that's been a little hard for me. When this happened and I started to just understand things on a deeper level, again, it felt like I passed the first part of the test. I could see what no one else was allowed to see. And this is why I'm sharing my story, a story of my lineage, what others before me had to repress. The girl with the white lash, I don't know. Let's see what the world thinks of my odd eye. I just know that I am here to tell the truth. Truth has a frequency. I've always felt it, and now I'm able to understand it, not just feel it in my body. I can see it and I can start to put words into what I'm seeing in a way that I never had the confidence to do before. If you've made it this far, please like my video and subscribe to follow me on my journey and hear my random views on life. And if you feel called, you can send this video to a friend. You'd be helping me out a lot. Again, this is very new for me. I am just starting to get my voice. It's something that I'm excited and a little bit nervous to share. So if you have any questions or any suggestions on, what you want to know about me, things that you want me to talk about, I am an open book. The only rule is to always be kind. So thank you for sticking it all the way to the end, and I will see you in the next video.